Hey guys, welcome back to my modded Let's Play of Kerbal Space Program. I've done a little recording, but I'm doing post commentary. I did a couple missions where I sent up the, I believe it was the science module. I know the science really doesn't matter or anything in Sandbox, but it's still cool to have the looks and everything, make it look science is going on and whatnot. But that's what this is right here is the science module. And you can see I finally used the fairings to make it look like a realistic rocket. Something you might see in the real world or whatever. It's pretty cool. It took me a little while to figure out the staging and get everything right, but we'll see it right here where I was worried whenever the fairings come off that I was going to bump into it. But evidently you go right through them and with the KW rocketry stuff. That's good. So I was worried that I wasn't going to have enough time to burn and get into an orbit. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to go, and I just sailed right through it. That works for me. But yeah, I guess I'll cut now to show you exactly what we have on the science module itself. We have the standard, uh, lifter setup, and then underneath the fairings is the module itself, obviously. And what uh, we have the science module junior, whatever it's called, the actual science processing lab, the mobile processing lab, that's what it's called. We have a little bit of a little storage container. That's right there, that's where I disconnected from. So it's pretty much on its own, and I have a little bit of RCS in the storage container. It's a little wonky to try to put it back in there properly, but I finally get it. Yeah, there it goes. I have some solar panels, RCS thrusters. I have this Science Junior and a couple of mystery goo containers, and the only actual part that would work on the in the sandbox is the scanner up top for the cathane. It's right there. Yeah, that's where I stored the battery pack and some RCS, and I also have the antenna dish on the side. You'll see later. So yeah, back to the flight right here. Um, I tried to time it. I was a little bit of ahead of it, so it took me a while to actually get an orbit where I was getting close enough for an encounter, but um, I finally got it. I should have waited till it was more directly above me, but I didn't think about me approaching it lower, so I was actually going to be going faster than when I got to orbit. But I finally got there. Um, it should be coming up soon. I can't remember what part of the footage we're in. Right here, we're just matching orbits, I think. Uh, I'm killing the relative velocity of my target, and it'll match the orbits. And I think I have to go around one or two more times. It's not the most, like I said, not the most efficient rendezvous, but it got the job done. Yeah, see, just pushing it out right here, and another one where I'm just matching velocities again. And I do this. I go around, like I said, a few times matching the velocity. I'm still trying to get my bearings back when it comes to rendezvousing and playing this game. I'm still out of practice big time, but I'll get there. As you can see, I got a pretty decent encounter right here, or close approach. And we're coming up, and I'm gonna get a little closer. Then I'm going to kill my relative velocity again, like you do. Everybody knows how to do that, so it's no big deal. Well, I said I cut out all the boring parts, but this part's not too exciting. But it's part of the game where you have to do the boring parts to be able to do the exciting, cool parts later on. And we're getting to that close approach right here. Not too shabby. I'm actually quite proud of myself. The docking maneuvers that I did in these two flights. Pretty good, if I do say so myself, for my standards. I mean, obviously there's people that can do it much better, and they're much better at the game overall than I am when it comes to building, flying, piloting, whatnot. But I'm happy with my rendezvous, my docking. Well, the rendezvous definitely needs work. It's taking way too long. Now you can see I put out the solar panels to get a little bit more energy in here. I get rid of the uh, injection stage, I guess that's what it's called. And then right here, then I fire the decoupler right into it. I was too scared to just click in there randomly, so I just decoupled from the actual fairing base itself, and I left that uh, decoupler on. I'm gonna go ahead and say I killed the decoupler. I went into the tracking station and went ahead and ended terminated it, but everything else I try to deorbit as much as possible. As much as possible. I didn't feel like it was going to be very easy to track that little bastard down with it spinning and flying around. And actually, it makes another appearance here in a little bit if I remember correctly. I don't remember if I left that footage in or not, but it's kind of comical. As you can see, I pulled in one of the solar panels so uh, I could slide in right beside the other one. And actually, later on in the second mission, I think I rotate this guy. See, there it comes again. I almost took out the solar panel. So, lesson learned, I should have retracted all the solar panels. But yeah, I'm going to slide right in there to that multi-point connector area right there in the middle. And like I said, later on in the second mission, I think once I get everything else, um, the fuel pod docking module attached, I think I rotate this guy 45 degrees so I can open up both solar panels. So all the solar panels are open except for the one that I knocked off with. I think it was Jeb. I knocked it off pretty good. So yeah, docked pretty easily. I'm getting the hang back to getting the hang of it again when it comes to docking. I remember the first time I tried to dock, it took me forever to get it down. And then right here, I'm just making sure they have enough fuel and everything. And here, I'm just opening up the science, even though I know it doesn't do anything in sandbox mode, and keeping the data just to keep them open and whatnot. So I just figured, hey, make it look like we're doing something. And unfortunately, we're too far out for the scanner to actually do anything up here. So I turned it on, then I turned it right off when I realized it wasn't doing anything. So yeah, right here is where I have the solar panel or the communicatrons or whatever they're called. And that's one reason I rotate that guy 45 degrees, so one's pointing away from the planet, one's pointing directly at the planet, so we can use it kind of like as a role play of the um, communications mod, whatever it's called, where you actually need it. So I don't have that installed. I might install that one day. It's just I have really no interest in it right now. I'm just trying to ease into having a lot of mods. I've played with a lot of mods before, just nothing too crazy. This is definitely the biggest mod pack I've had. You see, I'm transferring guys over to the science base so they can actually, quote unquote, do science, even though, obviously, like I've said a million times, there's no reason for it. So, just transferring them over, and I'm getting the hang back of the EVAs. I don't think I'm gonna have too much more trouble with the EVA controls. I know the last episode or two, it was pretty bad, me flailing around in space. I keep Jeb in what I'm for right now. It's kind of like the command center, the bottom area of the crew module that's connected to the four-way adapter thing, or the multi-point connector. I think I'm going to send up a proper communications command area in an episode coming up. But yeah, I'm keeping Jeb there, and those other guys are going to do science. And this is the fuel module, or fuel docking module. So I'll have the two big docks on the side and one on the very bottom. That's actually going to be where I can dock smaller fuel tanks or ships. Sorry about that, I had a cough, so I muted the mic. The docking node on the top is what I actually use to dock to the ship, and I plan on docking it to the space station core, to kind of keep the fuel and everything away from the crew cabin, the crew modules. I actually docked to the crew module in accident, not thinking about it, so I had to, later on you'll see that where I had to flip it around and fix that. This engine is very efficient. It's very underpowered though. The burns to get into orbit takes so long if you have a payload, weighs anything. It's just so underpowered, but it gets the job done. I can't complain. It definitely saves the fuel. I usually have plenty of fuel left in the different missions whenever I'm using that guy. I just might have to make some modifications. This mission actually was going to be, I tried to do like a double barrel, double orange tank kind of setup, but I was actually going to send up a fuel module itself and not actually have a thing, or I was going to send the fuel up itself and not just send up the docking ports for it. And I just couldn't figure out an efficient way. The thing kept falling apart and everything, so I just figured out I would just make the docking rig, attach it to the station, and then send the fuel up as a separate mission. And this guy right here, I'm actually really proud of the way it handles the docking module. It's obviously all it is RCS and docking port, so it handles very well. I eventually want to set up like a utility rig where I start using infernal robotics and stuff like that. I have like an arm with a magnetic attachment and things like that, so I can move stuff around with that, and also a little tug, so I could send it out and move stuff around with that as well. That's something that I really haven't thought about that too much, and I've never even used infernal robotics at all, so I have no idea how to even go about that. I think that's something I want to play test a little bit before I actually settle on any kind of designs. And with this, I'm really proud of this approach. It took a little while because I was coming in pretty slow, but it was, I mean, I had no issues. I got it lined up. I'm thinking I'm too worried about having it try to be perfectly symmetrical and on the same lines and everything. I just want it to look good. And yeah, as you can see right here, I haven't noticed yet that I'm docking this to the crew area, and I don't want to do that, and I haven't seen it yet. And then a little later on, I'm like, uh-oh, I gotta move it. So here's me actually detaching it, and all I do is flip it around 90 degrees, and I mean, it just worked out so well. I just back it up a little bit, turn it 45 degrees, move it over, then I turn it another 45 degrees and move it forward, and it's fairly painless. Worked with no problems, so everything's coming together. It's still not very laggy at all. The part count's still relatively small, and my computer's seeming to handle it pretty nicely. I do get a little bit of lag when I deorbit the booster stage that got this up. Sorry, hit the mic. As the space station flies by, but I think that's just because it was unloaded. It tried to reload it as I flew by, and it just didn't have time to render it. And then I don't know. I think it just made my computer spaz out a little bit. But yeah, I rotate the science module 90 or 45 degrees off camera. I don't think I recorded that. Yeah, right here you'll see. I don't know if you'll be able to see in the video how bad it. I think it dropped down to like 18-20 frames. Usually I'm running at a solid 30 frames while I'm recording out here. But yeah, right here it starts dropping about 18 frames, and yeah, it is a little choppy. It's not too bad. I think that's just because it was coming into frame, and I had to start rendering everything, and then it just bogged down the CPU a little bit. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for this episode. It's a little bit short, but we got a lot done. And I think next episode I'm going to send up a fuel tank and start thinking about maybe a possible mission. I might do that utility package I talked about earlier, but I think I'm definitely sending up some fuel. But we'll see where we go from there. So, as always, guys, I do appreciate you guys watching, and stay tuned for more.